guys, it's Syama here with Scaling Retail. We're here with Jason, founder of Strivers Row. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you guys for having me, of course.
So excited to talk to you about startup life, how it was getting going. You have obviously a very big booth here, which is amazing.
Decent.
It's pretty good. Bigger booth means bigger business.
Absolutely.
That's really exciting.
Yes.
But your business, I think, has such a tremendous, unique niche in the market, right? It's like you stand for diversity, inclusion, you have a really positive message behind it, and yet you're also being adopted by celebrities, influencers. I mean, the shit's hot, right? And so
thank you.
So I want to know all the nitty gritty, uncomfortable moments, the things that have brought you to today.
Let's say this. I'll say number one, we started 10 years ago, 09.
Wow.
You know, which a lot of people clearly wouldn't know that, right? You know, but I mean, it's pretty dope. Like you said, to kind of have a full booth here at the show, to actually have a salesperson, Lynn, who works with us, who is very dope, and she came from a brand that's right across from me right now before, so that's pretty dope too, and it's a little accomplishment and growth within itself, right? Because I can say that I started this brand, me myself, going to Japan and starting off making 2 jeans, in Japan, coming back, opening up a store in Atlanta and kind of selling my 2 jeans and t-shirts, and growing it to the point that I have a small team, small staff, and I don't have to do everything anymore by myself.
You can
so that's
breathe a little bit. But you have new problems now.
Absolutely.
So tell me about your personal growth and development as you came up with this idea and then you tested it. How have you had to change?
Man, that's a dope question. How I had to change. I think number one, we should grow, right? As we get older, we should also grow. Just because you get older don't mean you grow. You know what I'm saying? Right? So we should grow. We gotta have different problems for real, right? So I mean, over the last 10 years for me, man, I mean, I have a son. My son is 10 years old now, right? So during the birth of this brand, my son may have been 6 months or something at that time, so it's pretty cool to kind of watch both grow at the same time. But yeah, man, I mean, it's been a
2 babies now.
I've had 2 babies, and I still have 2 babies, right?
Exactly.
And I'll say this, I started off independent, and I was doing it myself for years independently, and have a great partner, RP55 Group. I was already partners with those guys with 2 other brands, so we already knew each other. We already had a rapport. We already had success together. So at a point that I knew it was time for me to expand my brand, I knew I had to, get a partner and inject some more cash, and not just cash, but also resources, right?
Sure. So what do they bring to the table?
What do they bring
really
to the table?
Facilitates
Great question. Number one, production. So I was trying to do everything myself. I was / designer, co-designer, sales, production, financing, everything, right? Yeah. So now with my partners, our P55 Group, they do production, they do shipping, they do, we have sales, that's come from them as well. So obviously they've infused money into it as well, right? To get the resources, to get a design team, sales team, and a small marketing team.
Who makes decisions on what, right? So as far as working with a partner and saying, hey, you bring something to the table that I can leverage to further my mission, right? When it comes to decision making and control, etc.
Sure.
How does that work out for you?
I mean, it's always a give and take thing, so and no matter what, when you have someone come and inject some money in, they're gonna want to also help manage the business in some kind of way, The great thing about my partners is that we were already partners in other brands before this brand. So we already had a rapport, and I knew what they did well, and they knew what I did well, So now getting into this, it was kind of like the cheat code a little bit for me.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
You're
So it was I'm in. I know what you guys do, and and I know when to lead and when to listen, when to follow.
Right.
So I feel like that's the biggest thing I feel about a lot of partnerships for real. It's sometimes you have people that's the getting to know each other phase, and also for the original founder, letting go and letting other people also come aboard and take some ownership as well, right? I think that's always important, and that's just not from a equity ownership, but also employee staff ownership as well. You know, you want your marketing, you want your sales, you want other people that are part of the you know, the movement to actually feel empowered and feel like their voice matters and counts, you know?
Who was your first employee that you hired that really allowed you to like breathe? Where you were like
Her. Lynn, who's the head of sales.
Like, yes,
Yo, yes. She was it. She was the first employee that was like, wow, you know what? This is someone that's a professional. You don't have to micromanage. You don't have to babysit.
Yep.
Everything.
Yeah, I love
So
it.
that's definitely like
That's so
secret
great.
sauce.
And so how long had you been like marinating on this brand and the idea? Was it fast? Were you like, okay, everything clicked and you're like, boom, I'm gonna make a move? Was it like, oh, this is like something that's been around for a while and now it's the right time?
I believe in the whole hurry up and fail model.
Okay.
You know, so I'll get an idea, I'll research the hell out of the idea to try to put in a little bit of work up front, but I won't sit on it too long.
Okay.
You know, I feel like, you know, if something is perfect when you launch it, you've launched it too late, you know? So I feel like get into it and adjust it as I get the intel and the feedback from people, make my adjustments and keep going. So to answer your question, it didn't take very long at all for me kind of getting the idea to do a brand and jumping in and doing the brand.
Yeah.
And when I say didn't take long, it was probably a matter of a few months, honestly.
Wow, that's amazing. Holy shit.
It was fast. It took a while to develop the brand once I started, but for me to make up my mind and say that I'm going to commit myself to this, this is it, I was already on board.
That's amazing. And so when you think about obviously how big the business is today and kind of what the future holds, right? Like where do you see this brand going? What are the other categories? Like what else? Where
Categories,
else
man.
You, like,
I want to do
tapping
children's. I
into?
want to do
Okay.
like kids, you know, especially young boys, young men's, as I'll say, as well as home goods, you know, furniture.
Yep.
Furniture is something that we've done a few pieces before in the past. We've done chairs, couches, a few different furniture items. So I would love to kind of get more into that.
There's been some great furniture collaborations.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're like, what? Like,
Yeah.
you like never thought about that. And then
Yeah,
you're like,
I want that restoration hardware collaboration.
Oh yeah. You'll be outfitting one of their like
exactly.
restaurants, you know?
Exactly.
It'll be like
Exactly.
That's
Top to bottom.
amazing. That's right.
Yep.
That's amazing. And
Yep.
as far as like marketing strategies and kind of like how you guys are approaching things like pop-ups or like, you know, like collaborations, like I mean, what are you guys testing and iterating? Like what's experimental for you?
Well, I mean, you know, pop-ups, collaborations, product placement, those are all things that are, you know, everyone's doing those things, right? Everyone's trying to figure out how to do them. You know, for us as strivers, we also feel like you should stand for something, you know, which is marketing, but authentic marketing, you know? And when I say stand for something, be it sustainability, be it prison reform, whatever your cause is, I feel like you should pick a cause and kind of align to it and be, you know, something that's authentic to you, you know? So for us, we're kind of gearing up to go into those realms. Strivers Row obviously is about progressing and being better, the best you can be. So even when you talk about scholarships and support and, you know, kids that are going to school and things of that nature, also get involved in that as well.
Yeah, I think that's really important, you know, to like, and I feel like now these days, everyone can call bullshit really fast.
Absolutely.
And I think that like the level, you know, I just gave a talk about 2 hours ago on new retail disruptors, and one of them is like being authentic, and like people like Gen Z calls bullshit.
They're going to smell it a mile away.
They smell it. They
Smell it
know
a mile
They
away.
smell it. They get it.
Think about it.
It's
The
like,
first thing that Gen Z wants to know is like, okay, what cause are you riding with, right?
Yes.
That's the thing, right? Like what cause are you
lead
on?
with the heart, right?
Yeah, exactly.
With the mission.
Lead with the heart. Lead with the mission. That's great.
And then you become powerful through the love, right? It's like, I think that's a really valuable thing, and I think that's so funny. I mean, I just realized the other day that like millennials are like up to 39 years old, you know, like I'm like, you know, it's it's like that time is
it's
like,
over.
It's over. Yeah,
They're not the hot thing no more. Now it's Gen Z now, right?
Like, it's not the hot thing. And I think it's so interesting when you think about all of the brands that are showing here now, and like who's gonna really like position themselves and pivot to kind of lead with purpose.
So that's literally how I'm looking to move. You know, I feel like us coming with RP55, it was like a time to think, reboot, reinvent, you know. So for me, I said, okay, like what does reinvention mean for us, you know? And totally what you said, like double down and go for the next guys, the next, you know, guys and girls that are coming up, you know. And that is Gen Z, you know. And of course millennials are there, and you can't forget about them, but you also got to look for the future and understand like what's going to be the points that are going to get me to be here 20 years from now.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's also kind of aging with your customer, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, as your customers have kids, well, your line got to have kids, right? Like,
exactly.
Like, it's about how do
as
you
your
become a family brand?
As your customers get homes, I need to get furniture to go in your homes, right? You know,
totally.
You have kids, I need some clothing to clothe your kids with as well.
Absolutely.
So that's totally how we look at it as a full lifestyle brand.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And in terms of like, you know, one of my big philosophies is that if you're a retail business, you're also a media company.
Yes.
Right? And so if you're not also a media company, if you're also not thinking about being a technology company,
yes,
right, then you're kind of like really not going to be in retail for very long.
I agree with you 1,000,000%.
You know, so in terms of like being a media company, what does media look like? I mean, it's so different for everybody, right?
Sure.
I'm sure you're going to say Instagram, but like what else does media like look like for you?
Well, you know, I don't know if you know my background, but I come from music, entertainment for real, you know. So for me, media is definitely, of course, Instagram is a part of the media pie, you know, but obviously on demand, right? Yeah. YouTube, Netflix, you know, just all of these other different points, you know. And I feel like really you have to, as well as, I can't forget about streaming. Yeah. I can't forget about podcasts, right?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so to me,
right.
I just feel like you have to always live in the flow of traffic. So wherever traffic's at, wherever people are at, you have to be there. You know, some places you may have a bigger footprint than others, but I feel like you should be everywhere, you know, and that's what we're working towards right now, actually.
Yeah, you know, the one term I love is called attention arbitrage. It's like, you know, be where your customers are, but go where they're like starting to go before anyone else gets there, right? So things like catalog mailers, you know, it's like, when's the last time anyone got a piece of mail? Well, trust me, when I get a catalog in the mail now, I'm like, oh shit, like that's really interesting.
Yo, and that's so important because, you know, it's funny because we're going to some of that stuff as well. Print, zines, things of that nature, right? I mean, because when you talk about Gen Z, young people in general, if you give them a nice tangible item, that's like a coffee table book for them.
Totally.
Right? Like,
you have to pay for it.
Exactly.
Like, this is a collaboration.
Exactly.
It's with my favorite artist.
And it's also special now too because it's not that often that you get that, right? It's not that often that you get a piece of mail in your box that actually catches your eye and not just hits the trash can. So to your point, if it's something that's worth it, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna go through it, you know. So I think that some of the traditional methods are very relevant today.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, one final question. Okay, so one of my favorite things is, I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's called rose, thorn, bud. And so what that means is rose is like, what's something in your life that you're like really happy about right now? A thorn is what's the pain in the ass? And the bud is like, what's the emerging thing that's like coming up and happening, but not flowered yet.
Not flowered yet.
So rose.
Woo, rose. So what am I happy about right now? Personally, in my personal life, I just got engaged.
Hey, congratulations!
My son, thank you. So you know, I'm happy about all of that stuff, right, going on. So that's my rose. What'd you say? What's my thorn? Thorn is time. Not having enough time and trying to go so many places to see so many things and be involved in so many things because, like you said, in the world today, to me, I feel like there's no yellow solid lines in the street anymore, right? Everything's like the white checker line. So now I want to move from lane to lane to lane, you know, because I'm just inspired and influenced by different touch points, you know. So I feel like.
But you only have one attention span.
So I have one attention span. And I'm only one person, you know. So that's like my thorn. Like, damn, so many things I want to do and I can't make it because I got other things to do. Right? It's not enough time. And then what was the last one? The bud. What's emerging? What's emerging? Strawberry Road, 10 years old, is still emerging. You know, and that is the point that that just drives me every day, right? You know, like you said, where do I want to go? Where do I want to be 5 years from now? And knowing that I gotta hurry up and go, hurry up and go. And you know, it's a lot of competition, obviously. You know, so you have to kind of plant your seeds and keep watering them every day, and they'll eventually
You know, I always like to say that there are all these competitive categories, but
Yep.
there are non-competitive voices. And when you think about the voice that you have in the market,
Yeah.
people might be selling similar products, but yours has your voice.
Facts. I totally agree.
All right, amazing.
Yeah,
Think
yeah.
any parting words for our audience and any words of like discouragement or encouragement?
Hey, I mean, keep going. That's the first thing. First and foremost, keep going. It doesn't happen overnight, you know. So anything worth having is you got to sacrifice for. Check us out, www.striversrowusa.com, at Strivers Row USA on social media.
Amazing.
Thank you.
You're
Yep.
the best. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. All right, guys, that's all from us today at Strivers Row. This was amazing. As you can see, passion, purpose, looking at Gen Z, who are now 4 to 24 years old. So interested to
That's
see
crazy,
how
right?
the 4-year-olds are going to be rising
Right?
up with purpose-driven product and missions and statements. Really a pleasure. Thank you for bringing your gift to the wider audience.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks.
Cool.